Let me tell you about two people. Both are 27 years old. Both earn roughly $45,000 a year. Same schools, same neighborhoods, same social media feeds full of people talking about getting rich. 10 years from now, one will have over $200,000 in growing assets. The other will have almost nothing and won't understand why. Same income, same starting point, completely different outcomes. And here's what the data actually shows about why. It's not intelligence, not work ethic, not even luck. A 2019 study published in Nature Human Behavior found that wealth accumulation is more strongly predicted by saving behavior and financial habits than by income level alone. Researchers tracked thousands of households and found that people in the top income quartile who had poor saving habits ended up with less wealth than people in the bottom income quartile who save consistently. Same money, completely different systems. Today I'm walking you through 5 specific steps, and I'm going to show you the evidence behind each one. The myth first, then the reality. The internet sold us the idea that wealth is a secret, a hidden strategy, an underground stock tip. Here's what's actually true. A 2020 TIAA Institute survey found that only 19% of Americans could correctly answer basic financial literacy questions. Yet the information itself is freely available. The knowledge gap isn't the problem. A landmark 2015 meta-analysis published in Psychological Science reviewed 168 studies and found that financial literacy education alone improved financial behavior by only 0.1%. Knowledge, by itself, barely moves the needle. What does move the needle? Behavioral systems, psychology, structure. The human brain has a documented bias toward immediate rewards over future ones. Researchers call it hyperbolic discounting. A famous 1981 study by Richard Thaler showed that people demanded $15 today over $20 in 1 month, a 300% annualized return, because the present feels more real than the future. This isn't a character flaw. It's how the brain is wired. And every step in this framework is designed to work with that wiring, not against it. Step 1. Know your number. The Federal Reserve's 2023 survey of consumer finances found that only 54% of American families held any retirement savings at all. More striking, a 2022 NFCC survey found that 44% of Americans don't have a budget and don't know how much they spent last month. You cannot fix what you cannot measure. There's a psychological reason people avoid this. Researchers at the University of Ohio coined the term financial avoidance, a documented pattern where people actively disengage from financial information because checking feels threatening. A 2012 study in the Journal of Marketing Research found that people who felt financially stressed were significantly more likely to avoid checking their bank balances, which, predictably, made their financial situation worse over time. Facing the number breaks the cycle. Your financial baseline is simple. Assets minus liabilities equals net worth. Monthly income minus monthly expenses equals cash flow. Write both down. According to research by Dr. Gail Matthews at Dominican University, people who write down their financial goals are 42% more likely to achieve them than those who don't. Know your number. Do it this week. Step 2. Pay yourself first. This is the most evidence-backed habit in all of personal finance. Behavioral economist Shlomo Benartzi and Nobel laureate Richard Thaler developed the Save More Tomorrow, SMART, program, which automatically increased workers' savings rates whenever they got a raise. The result? Participants increased their savings rate from 3.5% to 13.6% over 40 months, without ever feeling like they were losing money. Why does automation work so well? It eliminates what psychologists call ego depletion. A widely cited series of studies by Roy Baumeister found that willpower is a finite resource. Every financial decision you make drains the mental energy available for the next one. When you automate saving, you remove the decision entirely. The right thing happens whether you're tired, stressed, or tempted. Start with whatever percentage you can. The 2023 Vanguard How America Saves report found that people who automated their contributions saved an average of 7.7% of income, nearly 3 times more than those who saved manually. Automate it. Protect the decision from yourself. Step 3. Kill your expensive debt first. Here's the math most people never confront directly. The average credit card interest rate in the United States hit 21.59% in 2023, according to the Federal Reserve, the highest recorded level since the Fed began tracking it in 1994. The average U.S. household carrying credit card debt owed approximately $6,500, according to the 2023 Experian Consumer Credit Review. At 21.59% interest, that $6,500 costs you roughly $1,400 per year just to exist, before you pay down a single dollar of principal. Compare that to the stock market. The S&P 500's average annual return from 1926 to 2023, across wars, crashes, recessions, and recoveries, has been approximately 10.2% nominally, or about 7% after inflation, according to data compiled by NYU Stern. Paying off a 21% credit card before investing is mathematically equivalent to earning a guaranteed 21% return. No stock can reliably offer that. The psychological dimension matters too. Eliminating debt doesn't just free up money. It frees up your mind. The avalanche method, paying highest interest debt first, is mathematically optimal. A 2012 analysis published in the Journal of Consumer Research confirmed it saves the most money. The snowball method, smallest balance first, generates stronger psychological momentum for some people. People using the snowball method were more likely to fully pay off their debt because of the motivation generated by early wins. Choose the method you'll actually stick to. Step 4. Make your money work while you sleep. A dollar kept in a traditional savings account earning 0.46%, the national average rate as of 2023, per the FDIC, loses real value every year. The Federal Reserve's target inflation rate is 2%. That's a guaranteed minus 1.54% real return annually, before taxes. Investing isn't a rich person's luxury. It's the only mathematically viable response to inflation. The case for low-cost index funds is backed by overwhelming evidence. A landmark 2020 S&P SPIVA report found that over a 20-year period, 94% of actively managed large-cap funds underperformed the S&P 500 index. Not some of them. Not most of them. 94%. The people paid millions of dollars to pick stocks couldn't consistently beat a fund that simply buys everything. J.P. Morgan Asset Management's 2023 Guide to Retirement modeled 3 investors. One who invested $5,000 per year from age 25 to 35 and then stopped entirely. One who waited until 35 and invested $5,000 per year through age 65, and one who invested throughout. The early investor, despite contributing for only 10 years, ended up with more money than the person who invested for 30 years but started a decade later. Time in the market is the single most powerful variable available to you. Not stock picks. Not timing. Time. Step 5. Build a second stream, then a third. This isn't motivational advice. It's a documented economic reality. According to the IRS statistics of income data, 65% of millionaires have at least 3 distinct sources of income. A 2019 analysis by Tom Corley, who studied 233 self-made millionaires over 5 years, found that 67% had 3 or more income streams established before reaching millionaire status. The risk side of single income dependency is equally well documented. A single income stream is an enormous concentration of risk. The shift that matters here is what economists call moving from labor income to capital income. Labor income requires you to keep showing up. Capital income, dividends, interest, rental income, business revenue, continues even when you don't. According to Federal Reserve data, the top 10% of wealth holders derive the majority of their income from capital. The bottom 50% derive almost all of theirs from labor. This doesn't require quitting your job. It requires starting something small. Dividend stocks, a high-yield savings account, a monetized skill, rental income. The mechanism matters less than the principle. Start building at least one income stream that doesn't require you to trade hours for it. The real reason most people don't do this. All 5 steps are publicly available information. Children who were more successful at delaying gratification had typically been taught strategies. They looked away from the marshmallow. They distracted themselves. They reframed it mentally. They didn't just try harder. They built a system. That's the insight behind every step in this framework. Automate the savings so you don't need willpower. Eliminate the debt so the math works in your favor. Invest in index funds so you don't need expertise. Build multiple income streams so no single failure can end you. Rich people are not more disciplined by nature. The research is clear on this. They've built systems that make the right behavior the default behavior. The decision was made once, structurally, and it executes automatically after that. What you do this week, don't just decide to start. Decide when. This week, sit down for 30 minutes and calculate your net worth and monthly cash flow. Write it down. That single act places you ahead of the 44% of Americans who have never done it. Then pick one automated action from the remaining 4 steps. A $25 automatic transfer to a Roth IRA. One extra payment on your highest rate debt. Open the index fund account you've been delaying. One thing. Automatic. This week, let's go back to those 2 people at the beginning. The one who builds wealth won't do it through superior intelligence or a lucky break. They'll do it because they understood what the behavioral economists, the financial researchers, and the longitudinal wealth studies all point to. The gap between knowing and doing is closed by systems, not by motivation. The one who ends up with nothing won't fail from bad luck. They'll fail from a pattern documented in study after study. Intention without implementation. Waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect knowledge, the perfect conditions. The Federal Reserve's own data shows median net worth for Americans aged 35 to 44 is just $135,300 in a country where the average home costs $400,000. That's not a knowledge problem. It's a behavior problem. You've already done something most people haven't. You've engaged with this seriously enough to read to the end. Now go calculate your number. The evidence is clear on what happens next. Take one step today, and I'll see you in the next one. You know where the subscription button is.